Hello Libra, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for your June 2023 Tarotscope. It is my absolute pleasure to be here with you. We are going to be taking a look at what you have healed or learned over the past 6 months, what you are moving away from this June, what you're moving closer to this month, where the next 6 months could be taking you, and we're going to be getting some theme songs or a song for you for this month. In the description box below, you will find links to all sorts of goodies. You can also find a timestamp if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. Let's dive in and see what June is bringing for you. Please do keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading. Only take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, what has Libra healed or learned over the past 6 months? What has Libra healed or learned over the past 6 months, please? Thank you. What is Libra moving away from this June 2023? What is Libra moving away from, please? Okay. What is Libra moving closer to? Thank you. Where could the next 6 months be taking Libra, please? Okay. Let's get some clarity. Tell us more, please, about what Libra has healed or learned over the past 6 months. Tell us more, please, about, okay. Tell us more, please, about what Libra is moving away from this month, June 2023. Thank you. Tell us more, please. Okay, this is way too many cards, Libra, so I'm going to put them back, but I am being shown the Three of Wands, which I do feel like is about you wanting to move forward, perhaps looking towards the future, looking at growing, expressing yourself very truthfully, potentially, I feel. But more than anything, I feel like you're looking to the future over the next 6 months, but certainly throughout this month as well. So what is Libra moving closer to this June, please? All right. Interesting that I just saw the Three of Cups as well. You may be seeing repeating threes currently. And I would say that if that is true for you, I feel like that is a sign for you in regards to your growth. For whatever reason, I feel like if you aren't actively working on your evolution, on your soul's expansion, expanding your consciousness, I feel like that's a sign from Source, God, Universe, whatever you refer to it as, saying this is about your growth. It's time to do the things that are needed in order for you to grow and evolve. Okay, where could the next 6 months be taking Libra, please? Okay, thank you. And what song or songs does Libra need to hear or be shown for this month, please? What is Libra's theme song? Right there. Okay. All right, let's dive in. So what have you healed or learned over the past 6 months, Libra? It's very interesting because just as I was saying that, I was feeling almost like when your sinuses get clogged up or you get stuffy and you feel it like in your throat. So for whatever reason, I feel like there could be something like over the past 6 months, perhaps you've been learning to express yourself or clearing the air, or, you know, like, because that's how it's kind of that's how it feels to me. It's like, ooh, and I just gnashed my teeth together too. So I feel like there's things that like needed to be said, or um should, I don't know. It's even, I can't, I don't know if you can tell. I'm not typically one to not have the words. Okay, that's not really in my nature. That's not to say that I don't pause in things, because I try to be very intentional about my word choices. But if you notice, I'm like as I'm trying to talk, or I was, and I feel like that's because I feel like there are things that you had wanted to say or felt like you should say, or something, but were really struggling to say. Like, I feel like you were like biting your tongue almost, or maybe you know have used that reference or that phrase, like, I'm just biting my tongue on this, I'm trying to not stir the water or something. And I feel like over the past 6 months, you may have been shown how that has been a disservice to you and your growth, your experience, because I feel like it's not aligning with your truth. And so you could have been shown over the past 6 months how that has not been beneficial for you, and potentially healing whatever it is that had you feeling like you could not speak your truth, that you could not express yourself very honestly for whatever reason. I don't know why it feels like that, but it does. Let's take a look now at the cards. So what have you healed or learned over the past 6 months? You do have purpose here. You possess the determination, pardon me, and dedication to consciously demonstrate love. This, for whatever reason, this feels to me, yeah, there's some, so I'm getting some fear coming up. And I feel like this feels to me as if over the past 6 months, for some of you, I feel like you've been shown, oh, come on, focus, please. I feel like you've been shown, or that, okay, here's the thing. It feels like the universe has been trying to show you that without a purpose, life feels pretty lackluster. That's not to say that you don't have moments that are fulfilling, or maybe that you don't have some fulfilling connections or something, but it feels like universe has been trying to give you signs of, yeah, and even it's even like making my it's like bringing a lisp through even as I'm speaking. So I just feel like universe has been trying to show you, like, hey, with a purpose, life feels far more fulfilling, life feels far more rich, far more colorful, and without that purpose, it feels almost like it feels like a roller coaster. That's how I'm being shown, like this, right? Because you have like these extreme highs and extreme lows, and it's like it's difficult, I feel, for some of you to find this kind of neutral or harmonious or balanced space, which is kind of funny because, you know, Libra are represented by the scales, of course. So, you know, it's very interesting to me that it's coming up that way. And I do feel like for some of you, maybe you've been trying to uncover what this purpose is for you. For others of you, I don't know why, but for some reason, I feel like some of you have just completely, I don't know if you're intentionally avoiding it, or if you just haven't been seeing it, or what it is, but I'm actually kind of seeing it as if like the universe is showing you things, but you like have your have your hands over your eyes or something, which is interesting as well, because, you know, Lady Justice, which is your card in the tarot, usually has like a blindfold on, right? Because it's like you're not supposed to be seeing with your eyes, you're supposed to be, you know, seeing with truth. And so for some of you, I feel like you're like avoiding, and I don't know what this is about. I don't know if it's because there are fears, programming, woundings, traumas, whatever it is that's holding you back. But I feel like some of you have been completely avoiding it. Others of you, I do feel, have been trying to actively seek out what your purpose might be. What is that thing that is going to provide you with that fulfillment, that balance, that sense of purpose? Okay. It's very interesting. Let's get to your tarot because yeah, okay. So we do have the Eight of Swords here. And it's interesting because this is, I feel, where I was getting that kind of like fears and things that may be coming up that have had you wanting to avoid certain, like avoid diving into purpose. I don't know if it's because you don't feel worthy, but it feels like there are stories that you're telling yourself. It's like this self-imprisonment that's taking place where it's like you don't see yourself clearly. And again, this could be from wounding, trauma, programming, again, stories that you've been telling yourself, right? There's something here. So this is very strange for me because this is not something that typically comes through that I typically would pick up on. And I don't know that it's ever been really a message that I've had come through. But the word possess on this card is standing out very strongly to me. And then my eyes being drawn back to this woman here in the Eight of Swords. So I'm seeing that word and my eyes being drawn there. I feel like there are, how would I say, there are things that I feel like have a possession over you or have control over you. And I feel like these are things that are within your mind, right? This could be traumas, wounding, stories you tell yourself, programming, whatever it is. But I feel like these things, it's like they're your puppet master. Like I'm actually kind of being shown the devil energy, right? Because it's those things that have that hold over you. But I feel like in this case, it doesn't feel so much like that kind of hedonistic energy. It more so feels like the stories that you tell yourself. Like I'm actually seeing running in circles, like in your own head, just running, just like just going and going and going in circles. So I feel like part of something that you may have been healing or trying to be shown over the past 6 months is to, I feel like, love yourself, to release yourself from these stories, from this imprisonment, by loving yourself, by giving yourself love. And you have the Seven of Pentacles here as well. I mean, this is really, I mean, here's the thing. I'm just going to be honest. This is essentially like being distracted, like working without any reward. And I feel like I feel like there's some, how would I say this? It feels to me like some are or have been putting time into something. Maybe it's a job or study or something where you are literally, it's not in alignment with your purpose. I don't know any other way to say it. And I feel like whatever these stories that you've been telling yourself have been keeping you in this energy of essentially distracting you from your purpose, right? Like it's not in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing here. And so the rewards of that work don't feel fulfilling. That's how this is coming through. They don't feel fulfilling. And actually, I'm kind of seeing this, which is really strange because I don't know that I've ever seen this that way either. It's like your rewards are growing in the darkness, but you refuse to go there, right? Like, I don't know if this is because you have been unwilling to face your what we might call demons. You know, and I would see those as traumas and wounding, things that we need to heal and work through and address in order to release them so that we can move forward. Because here's the thing about those stories and all these things: they will be a puppet master. They will be controlling things behind the scenes, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. They will be back there, right, wherever you're hiding them, and pulling strings, right? So anywhere you're telling yourself a story that is not true, where you're believing a delusion, where you're lying to yourself, where you're lying to other people, whatever it is, right? They're there pulling the strings behind the scenes, right? Like you'll go to do something and your fear will pop up like, nope, you can't do that. You can't do that. And the thing of it is it'll let you get a little bit, like it'll let you think about it a little bit, right? Or let you go out on that limb just a little bit, but then it'll yank you right back. Like, you can go no further, right? Or that critic in your head will say, you're not good enough. Go ahead, think about it. That's fine, but you're not good enough. So, you know, I just feel like there are things here that you have been holding on to, because here's the thing: Eight of Swords is in your mind. It's your mind. It is mind energy. And these are things that you're like running around in your own head, and you imprisoned yourself. And that is affecting your physical world, because it's like you're refusing to step into your purpose. You're distracted. Yeah, we do have the Three of Pentacles here. And this is the thing, right? I said in the beginning that I felt like Spirit has been, God, Source, Universe, I call it God, has been trying to show you there's another way. There's something else that you're supposed to be doing. And so over the past 6 months, this is what I feel like you've been working on bringing full circle. That you could either it's been shown to you and you've been ignoring it, or, you know, we're looking at this as like what you've healed or learned. So even if you haven't picked it up consciously, I feel subconsciously like universe has been showing you, God has been showing you like, hey, this is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is. So on some level, I feel like you know, okay, on some level somewhere within you. Whether or not you are acknowledging that, whether or not you are addressing it, that's a completely different story. And I feel like depending on you and your situation, where you're at in your unfolding of your path, you could be somebody who has come to see this and are like, okay, I need to release myself from these things. I need to focus and come into collaboration, I feel, with maybe a therapist, or which is weird because I've never really seen it that way, or this card for me often comes through as like God, your spiritual team, and you working together to weave your tapestry, right? That's how it's often shown to me anyways. And so some of you, I feel, for some, this could be like a therapist, right? Who's been helping. And maybe you took that upon yourself to step in. Maybe you felt nudged by Spirit, like, hey, maybe you should get a therapist or something. But I feel that there's some of you who have been working in some way, shape, or form on your fears with help from somewhere. Whether that's, like I said, God, whatever you call it, your spiritual team, friends, perhaps a therapist, whatever it is, and have been moving through some of these things and navigating them, releasing them, giving love back to yourself, recognizing love in yourself. Okay. Or you're not. And, this is, I feel, God's way of saying like, hey, this is something that needs your attention, right? Either way, you know, I feel like you haven't just been left alone in this. Again, this could be somebody in your life as well, because this is that like teamwork makes the dream work type of energy. And I feel like there's some part of you that knows, like, I can't do this by myself. Or like, I need that help. And I mean, again, I feel like this is shown up in your physical world in some way. But for some of you, I feel like you have, again, you've been actively working on sorting this all out, getting more into alignment with your purpose, collaborating with people and spirit to, again, kind of weave this tapestry for you, to step more fully into purpose, to be able to grow, right? Instead of doing things that have very little meaning or are unfulfilling to you. So what are you moving away from? The past. Yeah. I mean, that energy has been coming through, right? The stories you've been telling yourself, traumas, wounding, programming, right? It was all coming up in the first like 20 minutes of this reading. But it says, through the power of love, you release any stagnant situations or energy in order to transform your heart space. So moving away from the past, right? Any stories you've told yourself, again, this could be anything. Take it as it resonates with you. Leave what doesn't. Don't make it your story. If it isn't, that just puts more work on your plate unnecessarily. So I feel like there's really a message here. All of these characters are not looking either to the left or the right. The left meaning the past, the right meaning the future. They're kind of all face on. Even if their back is turned, they're still facing more towards the front. And I feel like this is because everything is calling you to be present in the moment, to be present now, currently, with where you are. No looking to the past. We don't want to, you know, worry about things that have already happened that we have no control over, and we don't want to be in a state of anxiety about the future, which we also have no control over. So I feel like there's this call for you to be very present in where you are currently, in the space that you're in your body, in your emotions, in whatever it is, wherever it is, moment by moment. To clarify, we have the Hermit. So, I mean, this is an energy of, it's like isolation, loneliness, feeling like you're just wandering, right? And again, I mean, if we look here, the Hermit here in the reverse is facing what would be my left. And so it's like, that's the past. We're leaving that behind. I feel like in the past, you may have felt very isolated. You may have experienced loneliness. You may have felt unwise as well, I'm getting. You could have felt rejected. And maybe these are some things that have prevented you from moving forward. You know, maybe these are some of the stories, some of the wounds and traumas that have been on a loop, or you've been going through. And so, you know, this is part of what I feel you're leaving behind. For some of you, I think there could be a fear of maybe because you now have people in your life, you're now building something with someone. For some of you, maybe you've been working on building a family, and maybe you've had new people come into your life, or maybe a partner or something over the past 6 months. Or maybe something that's gotten a little more serious, if you will, over the past 6 months. And maybe for some of you, there's been this fear of rejection or isolation, or, you know, something like that. Like, what if they leave? And I feel like if that is true for you, there's this energy of moving away from that. Moving away from that fear. And just working on being present in the moment and building with what is right in front of you. You also have the Two of Pentacles here, which, I mean, here's the thing about this Two of Pentacles. it's like juggling, right? It's not having your priorities in order and juggling all of these different facets of yourself, struggling to adapt to whatever situation you find yourself in. And I feel that for some of you, it feels like you're moving away from that juggling type of energy, right? Again, being more focused on what's right in front of you, because the way I'm seeing this is like this one being maybe the physical world, okay? And this one being maybe more of, or how would I say? Like maybe this one being the past and this one being the future, and then you being in the middle here. And it feels kind of like no more juggling between the past and the future, but instead being very present in the moment and acknowledging only that which is in front of you, making that a priority. You also have here, yeah, look at this is you. This is you right here, the Justice. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, I feel like there's that energy, I feel like there's that acknowledgement of focusing on the past and focusing on these things that are simply aren't serving you and currently is what creates that imbalance, that disharmony. And I feel like there's this feeling of moving away from how would we say, it feels like, to me, moving away from that imbalance, which is odd because, you know, typically in the reverse, the Justice might be indicative of disharmony or imbalance, but for whatever reason, I feel like it's being shown this way because there could be some sort of clarity that's been gained here. Maybe there have been some fears that have been released or some truth that has come forward, and it's showing you that if you sit in the past, how that impacts your present moment, or if you sit in the future, how that impacts your present moment, right? Like, I feel like you're seeing how that pulls away from you actually being able to enjoy what's right in front of you, right? Because even how the cards have ended up being laid out, we have this kind of more isolated rejection energy with the Hermit in reverse, and the juggling of, let's say, the past and the future, you know, trying to be more in the middle here on the left side of the card, you know, and then on the right side we have that Justice. So it's more like seeing that sitting in the past and playing around there or in the future doesn't allow us to be in balance. That's how it feels. Because again, right, we go from this with the Two of Pentacles, where it's like out of balance, to you essentially showing up for yourself and being in balance through that. But I feel like it's through that transformation, through releasing these things that could essentially be that cause and effect, right? Like the Justice, I feel, is showing up as that cause and effect energy. And what you're moving away from, right, is the past in order to bring yourself into balance. So what are you moving closer to? I mean, it's peaceful. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? You recognize that balance, kindness, and love bring calmness to your soul. So again, moving closer or getting more into alignment with what is going to be fulfilling to you, what is not going to be pulling you in all these directions, taking you on this like roller coaster ride where you're up 1 minute, down the next, you know, in the past 1 minute, in the future the next, where you're just kind of all over the place, right? I feel like you're moving closer to bringing this sense of peace and calm and balance into your life through releasing some of these things, through focusing on what is fulfilling to you and building upon what is fulfilling to you as you move forward, but being present in the moment. I feel like it's going to be one of the best ways for you to bring this in. What do we have? 3 of Cups. Yeah, moving closer to happiness. Developing a friendship and community. Again, right, like I said up here, maybe you have, you know, a new person, or are building a family or a community, or have created friendships or something that make you feel not alone, right? That make you feel like you have a team helping you, or a team behind you, as it were, right? Because their backs are turned. So I feel, you know, I feel like you're moving closer to bringing in this happiness, bringing in this sense of belonging, this sense of community, this growth, but only as you let go of the past and remain in the present. What else do we have here? The Sun in the reverse. I mean, I feel like this is you addressing the things that bring a sense of like sadness or negativity or depression. Again, I did pick up on that some of you may have started to see a therapist or something, and that maybe it's because you have been diagnosed. And I'm not saying it like that to be any type of way. I'm not a doctor, so I do not give medical advice, and so that's kind of where that comes from. But you could have been diagnosed with some sort of, you know, depression or something, and I feel like what you are, or how would I say, addressing that, I feel, right? Anything that's negative, sad, that makes you feel anything less than joyful, we'll say. I feel like that is what's going to help you to restore that balance, to bring that peace. And so I do feel like you're moving closer to being able to release that. Okay? And I think that you'll find, again, I'm not a doctor, okay? I am not a doctor. I think that you'll find, though, as you move more into the present, as you move closer to your purpose, or as you work more on developing through your purpose, I feel like you'll find that feeling of sadness slowly starts to be replaced with feelings of joy and happiness and contentment, right? Again, I'm not a doctor, do not give medical advice. You should absolutely seek professional help for any sort of psychological or physical health or well-being. But I just feel like as you are being more present in the moment and have something that you're passionate about, that feeling of depression and sadness could start to lessen more and more. You also have the Two of Swords here. This is that kind of indecision, stalemate type of energy. So I feel like as you grow and bring this balance in, you know, I feel like you'll find yourself moving out of that state of depression, moving out of those more negative types of feelings, or sad types of feelings, that feeling of stagnancy, right? You could be moving away from that, bringing in again that balance, that peace, finding it easier to make decisions to some degree. Maybe not completely, because the Two of Swords is just a representation of like being indecisive. And maybe that's something that you could work on, right? But here's the thing. When I look at this energy, we're looking at like, what could you be moving closer to? That doesn't mean that it is fixed. That doesn't mean that it's all better, or that it's not something that's going to impact your experience, right? And so you could find that you're moving closer to friendship and community and happiness and peacefulness and balance, but moving closer to those things will likely also mean that you have to address the things that combat that are not in alignment with that, right? So anything negative, anything depressive, anything that makes you sad, anything that like halts your journey, that puts you in this feeling of I don't know what to do, makes you feel like you can't make decisions for yourself, right? These are things that are likely going to have to be addressed or explored as you move forward. And that's just typical of any experience. I kind of have this saying like new level, new devil, which is essentially like, you know, every time you take another step, you have other things that have to be faced, other things that have to be healed, cleared, moved through, navigated, addressed, right? However you want to say it. And so, you know that as you move away from some things and closer to others, there's always, you know, things that need to be dealt with. You also have the Nine of Pentacles here. So I feel like this is about you focusing on you, focusing on that spiritual and material abundance. And I think you might be able to find that as you bring that balance in, as you focus on purpose, as you release the past, as you continue to collaborate with those that are supportive of you, whether that's God, again, like a therapist or something, your community or friendship circle, maybe it's a family. But I feel like this is about really putting in the work and then reaping the rewards of that, right? So it's like there are some things that have to be dealt with, that have to be moved through in order to bring those rewards in. But what I love about this, Libra, is that you move from the past 6 months in this state of, with Seven of Pentacles, of working with no reward and being distracted, right? So again, Seven of Pentacles, no rewards. You're putting in this work and nothing is happening. It's like you plant the fields, but nothing grows, right? And so I love that you move from that to, you know, closer to those rewards here as you move through June. But it's not just going to fall in your lap. Like, notice she's not just sitting down waiting for it. Like she's cultivating or has put in work in order to bring these things into fruition. I don't know why, but every time I've seen her, I've always thought she has like an apron on or something, even though that doesn't appear to be the case. But it always reminds me of like doing work, like getting your hands dirty, right? And it just really feels to me like you could find something that helps to bring in these rewards because it feels fulfilling to you. And if, you know, the cards are indicating anything, is that, you know, that purpose may have something to do with that. Releasing the past may have something to do with that. Being very honest with yourself about what brings in that beauty in your life, what brings in that balance and harmony into your life. You know, it's likely that you will be moving towards those rewards through something that has substance, right? It's not just doing it just to do it. It's not, you know, it doesn't feel I don't know, it just doesn't, how do I explain this? I feel like in the past you may have done things just to do them. So like society says you should be working this job, so you said okay. Right? Or society says you should have this education and you said okay, or your culture, or whatever it is. And so you just went along with it because it's what you thought you should be doing, or it's what you felt you deserved, or something like that. But it was lackluster, unfulfilling, unsatisfying. And I feel like whatever it is that you're moving closer to now, should you be willing to put in the work, it is something that has that substance to it, something that gets you excited about waking up in the morning. So where could the next 6 months be taking you, especially if you're moving closer to rewards this month? Action. You have the courage to express the unique loving colors of your soul. I mean, and this is beautiful because I do feel you have that purpose up there with what you've been healing, or what you've learned over the past 6 months, and what you may have been bringing in. And now over the next 6 months, with everything that you're taking from the past 6 months and June, I feel like you could be stepping into that purpose, taking action on it, right? Maybe that's switching living situations. Maybe that's switching jobs. Maybe that's moving to a new state or continent or country or whatever it is. Maybe that is, you know, separating yourself or creating boundaries between you and anything that makes you feel like you aren't able to move in what aligns with your truth, what feels right and light to you. But I feel like you could be taking action, finding yourself in a state of being far more courageous and more in alignment with who you truly, truly are. We have here the Star. So I do feel like something that could be coming up for you, right, as you move through the next 6 months, is developing that connection between you and the divine. I feel because it feels to me like for some of you, your connection with God, source, universe has been kind of spotty. And this may not be for everyone, of course, but it may have been spotty, or you may have been very insecure, you know, had a lack of faith in yourself and in God. And I feel like for some of you, you could be developing that relationship. Now, I'm not talking about dogmatic religion or maybe going to a church or anything like that, but developing it in your own way. For others of you, I feel like there's this, how do I say, it's interesting because again, the Star in the reverse can be this energy of insecurity. And I feel like for some of you, you are actually developing the courage and moving out of that state of insecurity, finding hope. Like, because here's the thing, it's out, right? The Star is out. So it's overcoming, I feel, that discouragement, overcoming that persistent negativity, and finding the courage to be who you truly are. But again, it can be flipped because it's out. It's just currently, I feel they're blocked. And so over the next 6 months, you could find yourself working on that, right? Working on overcoming that negativity through courage, through being able to express who you truly are. And you do have the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. Threes are about expression, or they can be about expression. Okay? And growth as well. So I definitely feel like this is the path that you are on, is unfolding for you right now, though it's probably going to look different for everyone, depending on you, depending on your journey, depending on your purpose, of course, right? As always, take what resonates. Yeah, you have the Moon here as well, so I feel like you're going to be gaining some clarity on things, because I feel like it really feels with the Eight of Swords there, and many of these other cards, that there's been this kind of haze that you have been living in, this kind of illusion, right? And I feel, and fear is coming through very strongly as well. So I feel like you could be finding yourself having the courage to face those fears, finding your way out of that haze, out of the darkness, as it were, trusting in your intuition even more if you don't already. Especially, I feel like that could be developing. Of course, The choice is always, always, always yours. But it feels like bringing the unconscious forward, right? Or the subconscious, bringing that forward and starting to see, again, in like through the darkness, starting to make your way through the darkness. I mean, we have the star and the moon. These are both things that we see in the dark. I mean, other than our personal star, our sun, right? This is what we see in, like, we see them in the darkness. Okay. So I feel like this is like navigating your way through your own personal darkness. Having the courage to do that and to express yourself truthfully. Yes. Yes. Because I feel like this is where, you know, you're able to take a leap of faith, to begin again, to see the world from a brand new set of eyes, right? From in a state of wonder, having the courage to, again, take that leap, start anew. So, I mean, here's the thing, okay? Here is the thing. You have a whole lot of major arcana in your reading. A lot. I mean, you have the Hermit, the Justice, the Sun, the Star, the Moon, the Fool. These are all telling me that you are going through a huge metamorphosis at this time, or at the very least have an opportunity to do so. That being said, Source, God, is working with you, as always, to try to bring you through this stage of transition into a new way, into a new beginning, right? And here's the thing too. Let me just talk about this for a minute, okay? Because we go here, if we move through the reading as we've read it, we have the Hermit, 9, Justice, 11, the Sun, 19, okay? That's for this month. So there's a progression, okay? The major arcana goes from 0 to 21. So you have 9, 11, 19. So there's this progression taking place, moving forward, right? And then over the next 6 months, so that would be including this month, right? You have the Star, 17, the Moon, 18, and then the Fool, 0. So it's like you're moving through this stage of growth. And for everyone, this journey always begins again. It always moves through and comes back to 0, right? Always coming back to begin again. Because there's the levels to this game, right? So, you know, you have the opportunity over the next 6 months to go through a huge growth process and to find yourself in a completely different experience, should you allow it. And that is the key, right? Because if you don't allow it, if you don't put the work in, if you refuse to address the things that you know need your attention, if you refuse to release the things that you know aren't serving you, if you refuse to pursue the things that make you happy, that are fulfilling, that bring you joy, that open your heart, that buoy love in your life, or bring about love. And I don't just mean love in the form of people, like connection, relationships. Okay? No, it's much, much, much bigger than that. I'm talking about love of life, love of nature, love of helping, love of community, love of friendship. I mean, it's so many different things, of a hobby, of creativity. Love is so much more than just, you know, a romantic partnership. You know, I feel like it's going to take work, but it is here for you. It is all here for you. A beautiful new beginning is here for you. Seeing truth and stepping into who you are truthfully is here for you. There are rewards here for you should you choose to essentially pursue them. So what is your theme song? Yeah, you have murder to the mind. I mean, and here, you know, you have a couple of swords energies coming out here, you know, and a lot of what has come through has seemed to be about overcoming your own mind. So it says here, but I was thinking about, oh, I apologize. This is Murder to the Mind by Tosh Sultana. But I was thinking about how to do this. Trying to find myself, I emerge from my foggiest. 6 months sober, I don't know where the time has gone. So very interesting, because I said I felt like there was this haze, right? For some of you, maybe that haze is literally getting sober. For others of you, I feel like this is, so in an interview of hers that I watched, Tosh says that this song is essentially about killing the ego. Now, you can't really kill your ego, but essentially, she, you know, said it's about overcoming your ego. And I think there's a part in the song where she says, I finally put my ego to rest. So it's about overcoming that darkness, overcoming those challenges, overcoming the stories, the wounding, the trauma, all of the programming, right? Overcoming that and finding yourself underneath all of it. And I will share in my own experience, as you go through this and you uncover the truth of who you are, you're like, holy crap, I spent so much time not being who I really am. And you could have even thought you were being who you are. No joke. Truly, truly, you could have believed that you were being your true self. And to some degree, you were, okay, or have been, based on what you know in that moment. But once you truly start to dig and uncover the truth of who you are, you realize how far from yourself you truly were. And it blows your mind. You're like, what? I mean, for me, this whole uncovering started to take place in my early 30s. And so I'm like, holy crap, like what? I spent a lot of time not being who I truly am, a really, really long time, right? And sure, there are people who, you know, may have been that way for much longer than myself, but it's really wild because you think you know yourself until you start digging and getting to know your soul on a, or your truth rather, on a soul level. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like this is wild. And life starts to move a lot differently once you start uncovering those truths as well. So 6 months can feel like that, but in a very fulfilling kind of way. So I'm going to leave it there. That is what I have for you for June 2023, Libra. Thank you so very much for sharing your time, your attention, and your energy with me. I am truly so very blessed to share your company. Thank you for connecting with me today. If something in this reading has resonated with you, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow by telling YouTube that there may be something valuable or informative here for someone else. So I truly, truly do appreciate you doing so. I pray that your month is full of courage, power, truth, and the ability to see who you really are and to give whatever it is you discover all of your love and to make yourself a beautiful priority, because you are an amazing soul and you deserve that. Take care of yourself. Peace be with you and within you, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.